So for this video, I was just going to give a quick run through of why the handle looks like it does. So I'll get started basically why people might be wondering why the fingers have been taken off. The early ones of these, I had the fingers on and I tried them in all different ways, but I just found removing them and having the anchor points there instead just gave you more options when you have the strap coming over to simulate fingers. You could just have the pressures in different spots, high or low or even, whereas when the fingers are coming over it, it was just much more limited with what you could do. And it also, you never had to hold on to it when the fingers came across. So when you were doing cupping, for instance, there was no pressure really in your fingers because this thing was holding on to you. And the other thing I found, it made it a bit more restrictive with bigger hands, not being able to grip it as comfortably, whereas the open design, so far I haven't really found any hands that haven't been able to grip up with this and it's been uncomfortable. Same with the reason the thumb is open. It's open just to have this gap just a bit bigger than if that was closed over, and this is actually a bit flexible, this material, so it does have a bit of give when you're cranking it over. The other benefit to having this open, which I didn't go through in the basic setup video, but you can actually strap up to this the same way you strap up to a proper hand. Obviously go through, tighten it all down, and this lets you train in straps the same way you train for an actual arm wrestle, so then you can have all your pressures coming, and straight away when you strap up to it, it just feels different. When you're connected to it, it just feels real different. The 6 anchor points, I found 6 worked well. The way they're angled lets it sort of kick out just from being on the angle. Same with these inner ones, if you wanted to have it kicking in, and if you hook onto it, it'll really kick in on you, so someone basically hooking you. So you can practice keeping your hand flat or even almost reverse wrist curls if you wanted to by having them attached to here. The center ones give you pretty much, if you wanted to sort of train a bit of side pressure with it but not have it hitting your fingers or anything, you can pretty much attach to these center ones, and that'll just give you a nice, basically hitting straight into your hand rather than hitting into your fingers or hitting into your arm. So that's pretty much the rundown of why it looks the way that it looks. Again, I did experiment with the thumb being closed over, so you had to put your finger in there, but again I found it restrictive with bigger thumbs, having trouble getting in there, and I mean trying to strap up to it was insanely difficult because you'd have to feed it through, whereas now, like I said, it's really simple. You just sit it on the top, just go for it. The material that it's made out of is a polyurethane, so it's pretty much this, if you wanted to know what it kind of feels like, it feels like skateboard wheels. So you can imagine how durable it is when you think about the beating a skateboard wheel would cop over its lifetime. A reason for the 6 anchor points is just to make it a bit more versatile, so you don't have to have the resistance coming from one direction only. So you could have your cup and back pressure hooked up to these front two, and you could have side pressure hooked up to the middle two if you wanted to, or you could have pronation hooked up to this one at the same time that you're cupping, or supination hooked up at the same time you're cupping. So when you're cupping it in, you're also getting a hell of a lot of resistance on the bottom of your hand for supination, or the top of your hand for pronation, or like I said, chopping, rising. But I'll go through some more advanced setups with it. Ones that I like to use, like multiple angles,